and you're poor, so I'm not listening to a damn word you have to say. Really evil stuff, man. It's prevalent in the land. A lot of people are on the highway to hell, and they don't even know it, and I have an obligation to warn them. I've got to do it. It's not just a right. This is about bloodshed, metaphorical bloodshed on my hands or on my head, if I don't do everything in my power to win people over out of the darkness and into the light, out of Babylon and into seeing clearly, out of that murky pool that's been made murky by deliberation, by intent to make it murky, keep you confused and disempowered and off balance, and over here, bring you over here to the clear pool, okay, and realize that it is a paradox. It is tough. It is tough. But what's the alternative? You got to be somebody, man. You got to know what you want in order to get it. And I want to be swimming in that clean, clear pool. I don't want to be in that murky crap, those muddied and bloodied waters by these evil people. Ugh. Can't stand their type, their ilk. Through empirical, axiomatic evidence, we can all know with absolute certainty that coin clipping is done by deliberation for the purpose of theft, and that coin clipping amounts to currency debasement and the accompanying cost of living tax inflation. Those whom would argue against these facts are in error. This fan blowing on me, and it wasn't allowing me to light my smoke. It is our personal prerogative to evolve into God's precious silver, metaphorical silver I'm talking about, or his loathed refuse, dung. To be to him pure, clean, fresh water, or bitter, polluted, filthy water, metaphorical water. To be a fragrant aroma in his nostrils, or a repugnant malodor. Fragrant aroma as a metaphor again. What's in our heart? It's written that the pure in heart will see good. And I'm supplanting the term good with God. The term God with good. But I think they're analogous. They're one and the same. God and good. Since nothing bad is God's fault, by default, everything good and only good and pure and healthy and wholesome is from above. It's from God. If we learn to treat one another with due respect, much like the gods with a small g, Jesus explained we are, do you think humanity would have the problems we have? Of course not. This truth applies especially to the children, the little ones, whom best represent the pure spirit of God. As it is written, better to have not been born than to harm one of these little ones, to cause one of these little ones to sin, to be evil. Yet there's a whole lot of people that are willing to be evil and to cause the little ones, God's children, all of us, to sin. By now, we've all heard about disruptive technology. Now we need to learn about disruptive solutions to societal ills. For example, if we simply ended desperate poverty, which we inarguably have the means to accomplish virtually overnight worldwide at this point in our history, as a civilized society, the disruptive aspect is that by solving this one problem, you would trigger an avalanche, a chain reaction, mass problem-solving event. An event that would lead to a vast reduction in most crimes, an end to the financial money printing scams like the Federal Reserve, of which vast numbers are employed in financial services in some capacity. The dubious warfare industry would lose trillions, and the welfare industrial complex same thing would happen. Yet, people still want to fight reality because their perception gets in the way. And their self-interest, they perceive their self-interests are at stake in the things that I teach and preach and tell people and inform people and try to enlighten people. I want people empowered. I want to be free. Yeah, that's what it really comes down to. I've got to seek happiness. I have a right, a duty to seek happiness. And I've got to be free in order to be happy. And I found out that you can't go alone. You've got to seek your self-interests are entwined, inextricably entwined in the self-interests of others. So we go this thing called freedom together, not alone. The quintessential motivation people have to become evil, financial/monetary-based fear, which is essentially reverence for their god, Satan, Lucifer, the god of this establishment. I strongly, even unequivocally contend that if one does not believe that we all have a stake in the inherent wealth of this planet and accordingly develop their economic beliefs, credos, and philosophies to fit that paradigm, they are on the highway to hell, wittingly or not. That's right. If you're opposed to this idea of hereditary wealth that is divinely bestowed upon us by God, because this earth is ours, that's the rationale, that's the context, that's the pretext, then you're evil, whether you know it or not. At the top of the list of the most powerfully intoxicating, stupefying substances on the face of the earth known to man, money ranks number one, hands down, each and every time. The things people would do for money are unequaled by any other substance. Disruptive technology amounts to any solution to any problem which interferes with the profits of others. I have one freaking question. Why should anyone give a crap? Right. Why should I care if releasing clean energy technology, for example, hurts your profits? I don't, and I shouldn't. Nobody should. But do we? Of course, they make us care. If you choose to join the quest in imagining to the point of actualizing, even in a world entirely without any form of money at all, you will hit manifold metaphorical mental roadblocks. These roadblocks must be conquered one by one, again, through our God-given power of imagination, the power of simply thinking it through. I was explaining that earlier. That, if you have a problem imagining a world entirely without money, God will help you if you ask for help. If a forest is set ablaze because some nut threw a flare into the underbrush nearby, shall we blame the forest for burning and the associated cost of extinguishing it? Of course not. This is a simple case of cause and effect. Similarly, if your money, your currency, your coin is perpetually being clipped, debased, made worth less by thieving criminals, shall we blame those innocent persons whom are victims of said theft, or the thieves that caused the theft? So the next time you blame workers for rising cost of living tax inflation instead of those raising said tax, you know your thinking is askew and illogical.